What's going on, YouTube? Welcome here to a recap of week 4 of the XFL season. Coming up on the halfway mark. Um, Pretty good slate of games this weekend. Not as great as I think last weekend was maybe the best overall weekend of football. Got some good ones next weekend too, though, so I'm not too worried. We'll get into all the action. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe, comment down below what you thought about the games this week. If you're interested in sponsoring me, my professional email is in the description as well, if you want to reach out. And we'll get into just recapping this pretty good week of football. Let's go to it. All right, the spoilers. So first game of the weekend, Houston Roughnecks versus Orlando Guardians. I was a little bit more optimistic on the Guardians. I've been kind of down on Houston all year. Maybe I'm just bitter. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't trust Brandon Silvers. I watched every game he played for the Seattle Dragons, excuse me, 2020. He wasn't good. And he's proven me wrong every time. And the Guardians, I thought at home, I didn't know. I was all right. The line was minus. I'll check quickly now. We'll do that quickly. Yeah, the line was Houston -9 when I looked. That just seems like a big spread at home. I know they're not playing well. I thought maybe be a closer game. I thought there was a chance. It was going on a limb. It was fun to do it. I was getting tired of just picking teams to cover all the time. And I was wrong. Yeah, the Guardians did not have much at all going. You could see, let's go through the stats. I mean, they were up 20-0, I think, in the first quarter, maybe 26. But Brandon Silvers, I mean, 24 of 30, 239 yards, 3 TDs, no picks. Cole McDonald had some nice plays. He's coming in for some of those Wildcat packages. John Trey Kirkland, wideout, with the first double pass. I think the first double pass I can remember. I think the first double pass for a touchdown that I can remember in either of the XFL. That might be wrong. More the first time I remember from this year, so that's exciting. Lucky Jack, wrong game. Travell Harris, Dante Burnett, spreading the ball around. You could see Cedric Bird had 7 catches, but a lot of other guys with 3, 2, 3. So they really did a good job of spreading that ball around, which is good. Defensively, you can see they got 4 sacks. They got a first fumble. They recovered it. They recovered 2 fumbles, scored on one of I think that fumble recovery. Might be wrong on that. I could probably check, but who's got the time? So yeah, that was them. We'll go quickly into the Guardians. Again, just struggling. They're just out talented. They just, this game especially. Just completely outclassed. Not a terrible game from Paxton Lynch, to be honest. I didn't think. Not a terrible game from Paxton Lynch. Just didn't have enough. I get DeAndre Francois putting him in. Just he's not mobile. Paxton Lynch also isn't very mobile, which hurts him a lot. And the stats, he had a couple big plays. I feel like that kind of inflate. He had an 81-yard touchdown pass. So that'll kind of inflate some of those stats. But I thought it was fun to bet. It was fun to pick the Guardians to cover. I didn't really think it was going to happen, but I thought there was a chance. I thought they might cover. But so Houston goes to 4-0, and Guardians go to 0-4. San Antonio Brahmas, Seattle Sea Dragons. This one was a pretty wild ending to the game for Seattle's perspective. They were controlling the end of the game, like 2 minutes left. They just got to run the clock out, get a couple first downs. Bentenucci throws a pick. They threw a pick, then they got a fumble or stopped them. And they stopped them, and then they threw another pick to set up to give San Antonio another chance at the ball. They were able to hang on, so props to them on that. They got to clean up the mistakes. They have. I don't know what it is. They keep turning the ball over. It drives me crazy. Bentenucci put up his good stats. He's always going to put up big stats. Josh Gordon 5 for 57. Juwan Green with the TD catch for them. Morgan Ellison with the touchdown. He's had a pretty solid season. Pretty decent game on the ball. I still wish they'd run the ball a little bit more, but 20 carries. I'd like to see like 25. I think they throw the ball too much. They're good at throwing, so I get it, and that's how June Joe wants to play, but I don't know. Yeah, 4 sacks for the Sea Dragons, forced fumbles. So pretty solid defensive game, not against the greatest offense, but something. San Antonio, we got Jack Cohn. He played a little better this week than last week, but still, I don't think he has it. But 20 of 39, 189 yards. It's a lot of throws for 189 yards. Their line's pretty terrible in what I've seen. So it's a pretty brutal. He's a game manager. He needs to be in a better team. If you put him on Houston, he might be maybe not putting up Brandon Silver stats. You put him with a better offense, like a better system. I'm sure he puts up better stats. And that's not, they just don't have the talent. They don't, whatever it is. It's just not happening for San Antonio in my mind. But, it happens. It happens. They play hard, they compete. They just don't have the talent, I feel like. Defensively, not much going on for them. So they go to 1-3, and Seattle goes to 2-2, which is big. With the North Division being as good as it is, we'll talk a little more about. Maybe I'll open up this tab for next time. San Antonio goes 1-3, Seattle goes to 2-2. This game was the biggest game of the weekend. Arlington, St. Louis. St. Louis is able to hold on. St. Louis win 24-11. Didn't have the best offensive game. The highlight of the real game was the attendance. I think they announced on ESPN it was 38,300. Biggest XFL crowd ever, biggest spring football crowd ever, which is awesome. That crowd was insane. That dome is really fun. They definitely deserve to have an XFL team, NFL team too. Excuse me. They definitely deserve this XFL team. But their defense played very well. You can see Kyle Sloter, 3 picks, no touchdowns. Davion Smith with a rushing touchdown, but Sloter has been a little disappointing. I'm not sure. Maybe he just wasn't as good as I thought. And he's still better to me than Drew Plitt. The upside is so much higher. I think it's absolutely worth the risk. And I don't think Kyle Sloter lost in this game. I don't think he won it for them, but no sacks for their defense. That's a big stat. They've been the king of takeaways too. They did get 1 INT, but they're opportunistic. Tough game. I knew this was my best bet. I think Arlington's not a bad team. They just didn't have a chance winning this game. It'd be next to impossible. St. Louis, again, like I mentioned, I love their offense. I feel like there's kind of getting bogged down a little bit, but they played okay in the end. AJ McCarron was AJ McCarron, 2 TDs, 20 for 27, 2 TDs and a pick. Brian Hill, pretty good running the ball, 28 carries for 110 yards. That's a commitment to the run. That's what I think I like about them. They really commit to that. And they're balanced running and passing. I think Seattle could take a page from this. Balancing the run and pass helps both of them. So AJ McCarron, I feel like has a lot more easy runs. Has a lot more easy throws because they run the ball so well and vice versa. I think Seattle should try to take advantage more of that. Receiving wise, Darius Shepard, Keem Butler with another big game. He's been awesome. I really like him. Former Eagle. They had only 1 sack, but the 3 INTs, a forced fumble. You can see 3 picks. So so St. Louis goes 3-1, big win for them. Arlington goes 2-2. Luckily, their division's kind of struggling. They got the 0-4 Guardians and the 1-3. The 1-3 San Antonio Brahmas. So not as harmful for them, but still tough loss. The biggest crowd in XFL history. Congrats, St. Louis. Shout out to all those fans. They deserve it. In the nightcap, we got DC versus Vegas. DC's had a pretty easy schedule, I feel like. They played Seattle and they beat half and half. They played 2 0-4 teams. They played St. Louis, who's probably the 3rd best team in the league, and Seattle's the 4th best. So kind of a mixed bag in their schedule, I think. Not a great game. Derek King had a pretty big game this one. 2 rushing touchdowns and a throwing touchdown. I still don't love the splitting, but I get it works, and I can't really knock it too much. Teamu, I think, that looked pretty solid. He's looked more and more comfortable every week. I know they haven't played the best of teams, but even last week against St. Louis, he looked much more comfortable. I think he's just finding his rhythm, which is so big, I think. And when he's clicking, you watch him, he's so much better. Teamu, dual threat too. I mean, Derek King's just praises. That's the other thing too. Derek King is a more explosive athlete, but Teamu was 9 carries for 89 yards. Inflated by 1 49-yard run, but still, that's 8 carries for 40 yards. That's pretty solid for a quarterback. So I think I think he probably should play more still, but Derek King had a good game. Congrats to him. It's working and it's getting more guys opportunities and more chance to make plays. So I guess I'm okay. But I think Tiamo should get way more snaps than he's even getting now. And yeah, commitment to run 40 runs. I love that. 173 yards. That's like I think the biggest ground attack I've seen all year. Not a ton of big plays. Tiamu helped them definitely in the run game, but still, like the commitment. Lucky Jackson, Jaquez Edward, usual suspects for them. Did lose a fumble. Defensively, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. Their defense has always been solid. Their defense is pretty good. So the Vipers, they lost their OC. They fired, forget his name now, excuse me, pardon. They fired him last week. I think that was last week's game. No, that was before the Seattle game. No, it was before this game. I don't know. Vegas fired their OC, so they're struggling. Brent Hundley was benched, which I wasn't watching super closely at that point. I'm not sure why exactly he was benched. He looked okay to me. I guess maybe just to give someone else a shot. Luis Perez, 2 TDs in a pick, not terrible. I don't think they were really moving. And you can see, I mean, yeah, it was 18-6, 24-6, and then they scored 12 points in the fourth. So, like, a little bit of garbage time, I'm sure. St. Louis or DC took their foot off the gas. Yeah, struggling running the ball, 20 carries, 71 yards, not going to get it done, especially with that group. Playing from behind, too. So Jeff Badette, Sanique Sweeting, 2 TDs. Congrats. Brent Hundley with a lost fumble. I need to look more into why Hundley was fumbled. If anyone knows, please comment down below. I apologize. And yes, they go to 4-0. The DC goes 4-0. Vegas goes to 0-4. So the 2 4-0 teams stay. We'll go to the standings quickly. This North Division is brutal for Seattle. I mean, they're 2-2, and I think they're better than Arlington pretty clearly. But they might miss the playoffs. I believe these DC and St. Louis play each other, so one of those teams will be one of the teams will have a loss at least. Seattle's got Houston though in week 5, which is also coincidentally, if anyone remembers, the weekend before COVID shut down. That's who the Seattle played. They played Houston. It was one of the best games of the year. Crazy. My boys got robbed. The last weekend, the XFL, that was who they played week 5. So kind of funny, a little bit of symmetry. So there's that. Vegas 0-4. Yeah, the 2 Texas teams at the top of the division, as I suspected. San Antonio still in the mix. I mean, Arlington hasn't really run away with it. Houston's run away with it, I think. Obviously, it's playing time. That'll be a big game for Seattle. It's on at 10:30 on a East Coast time on Thursday, which stinks. So I'll probably have to watch that on repeat on ESPN Plus, or not repeat, on stream it. Move quickly here into the bets. The only thing I lost was Orlando. Again, I could have gone with the safe pick. I didn't. I'm not going to apologize for it. But it was stupid and I was wrong. But it was every teams against the spread have been terrible. Pretty much every team. I don't think any team I've picked to not cover has won. Yeah, like every team except for every team. If the team's favored, they've been winning. I don't know if that's going to keep up, but in most matchups, that's been the pattern so far. So, like, if you don't really know what to do, just bet the team that's going to win to win. You'll probably do well. So yeah, you can see my best bet's still undefeated. My record on bets 11-5, still puts me like around 70 to 75%, pretty solid. And I've only wrongly picked one game. I picked Seattle to win week 2, and that was wrong. So that's it for this video. Again, be sure to let me know in the comments what you thought of all the action this week, and thanks for watching.